everybody. This is your girl, Nikki Nicole of Divas of the Roundtable podcast. I'm joined here today with Ladybug, Spicy Red, Kitty of Rising CEO Academy, and Nicole Banks of Pretty Pieces. We're doing this special show today to talk about cancer in the Black community. As you all know, a couple weeks ago, we did an episode with Spicy's uncle, Ben, and her aunt, Ida Scott, and they talked about Ben's survival of colon cancer. He's a 3-year survivor. At 12:03 this morning, my father died from cancer. So we're carrying on today doing this show, and we want to highlight the importance of going to the doctor in the Black community, and any community for that matter. We all bleed the same. So the ladies decided to be on the panel with me today, and we would all discuss cancer and how it affects us and our community. As you all know, that followed Nicole Banks. She lost her mom last year due to cancer. She also had her own cancer diagnosis and cure. She's been cured from cancer. Kitty lost her father to prostate cancer. Pancreatic cancer some years ago. So we all have a personal connection to cancer in our community. So this is a very important show that we're gonna get through today. Hopefully I can get through it. I know my dad isn't hurting anymore, isn't suffering. So this is all fresh and new. Like I said, 12:03 a.m. today, my father died. So we're here doing this show. So ladies, I'm gonna just put out some questions out there, and I want y'all to give y'all honest, heartfelt response to them. And the first question would be, what do you think the primary reasons Black men are less likely to visit the doctor regularly?
I think a lot of it's fear of a diagnosis. Sometimes I believe they might just be so fearful that they may find something that they just push it until it's, too late.
And they're not ready to accept it.
Yeah.
Or they're waiting so late till it's like there's nothing else that we can do for you. And I think part of it is that men in our society, Black men, always feel that they have to be strong.
Yes.
When you go through something like cancer, whether you're a man or woman, cancer is going to make you vulnerable.
Yes.
Cancer is going to break you down to your lowest denomination. Both my parents had cancer. My dad had prostate cancer. My mom was a breast cancer survivor twice. So she went through it and went through 2 double mastectomies.
Okay.
So cancer is going to make you feel a certain type of way. When my mom had that breast cancer, she was like so vulnerable. She didn't want her husband to see her. She didn't want her husband to change her dressing. She didn't want her husband to bathe her. So it's just like all kinds of, cancer almost makes you ashamed and embarrassed of who you are if you don't have that confidence and that faith to believe in God that you're not going to put nothing on me that I can't bear.
Exactly.
And I'm going to work this out because I have faith and I believe in you. So it breaks you down so God can build you up.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask this, because I know, Kitty, you explained that your father kept it from the family.
Yes.
The same way with my family, we did not know my father had cancer until Thursday morning when we found him in the hospital. He had been in there for a week. We found him in the hospital, and he informed us then he had stage 4. In this case, it was 2 fathers who kept the secret. Nicole, do you think it's different with it being your mother? Was she more open?
Absolutely.
She was not?
She was not. She had been battling it for a while. And they didn't know it was cancer, but she knew something was wrong. And then the last 80 days of her life were tumultuous. I just will tell you all. And there were things that I had to find out in her medical record while I'm advocating. I'm like, okay, so you knew we were gonna be here. And so no, she was the same way. She's like, I didn't want you all to worry. That's how.
So it's not a difference in the sex of the parents. I think it's maybe, is it that generation? Do you know?
I think it's that generation and them not wanting us to worry. Because like with you, we had to find out. My dad made them not tell us. He went in on a Monday, died on a Friday. We found out on the autopsy. that it was pancreatic cancer. And I think it was him not wanting us to suffer. But like what I was saying is that was valuable time that we could have decided to make memories. And it hurt me for a long time. I was bitter towards him because you didn't give me the option to say, hey, let's have a cookout on Sunday. Let's do this. Because God kind of gave you a timeline.
Yeah.
Versus I might can walk out the door and get hit by a bus right now. It'll just be over.
Taking family portraits, making memories.
It hurt.
It doesn't matter because my mama say, now I got something to tell you and I don't want you to be mad. So automatically when you tell me you got something to tell me, I'm getting ready to be mad. She said, I'm gonna have surgery. I think this was like on a Monday. I'm gonna have surgery on Wednesday. I say, oh, okay, well what kind of surgery you finna have? Breast cancer surgery. I'm driving, y'all. I was just like, so I said, well, what you mean you got the, what kind of surgery? I mean, what is this? What are you talking about? Well, I got to get my breast removed. I said,
Wow.
what?
Yeah.
How long you been going through? You got to get your breast removed.
Do you all think it's like the systemic racism in the healthcare industry? Do y'all think it affects our diagnosis and our cure?
Disparities are a real thing. It is definitely a real thing. We've gotten better, but the statistics say that Black people go to the hospital for pain meds. Black people have a higher tolerance for pain. Black people are dramatic. So with all of those things being said, sometimes we just don't go because we know what we're going to be potentially up against. And it's a little better now, especially since there are so many people that look like us that work in the hospital, which is fortunate for us. But 20 years ago, they were not treating us the same way. And and just what you said, like my mom is gone and my mom's sister, who I look just like, she died from breast cancer. She did the exact same thing. My mom called me out of the blue. She was like, I'm on the way to the hospital with your auntie. I'm like, oh my God, what's wrong? I'm on my way. She was like, she getting a port put in.
Yep, that's some ports, some stents.
Getting a port put.
It's just
She said she had breast cancer. She didn't want nobody to know. Well, how long?
I kind of think about that with my daughters now. And it's selfish. And I can see how my dad did that because my daughters mean so, they like my everything. And for them to know that I'm really sick and me to watch them hurt, I don't know.
Yeah.
And I believe in my mind now that I would tell them.
Yeah.
But if it happened,
You never know.
I don't exactly know.
You saying that kind of put things in perspective because my sister and I were more in my mom's world. So I guess that was
They're my everything, and to know that they may think that I may leave them, and to know the hurt that they would feel to see me sick, I'm saying now that I would tell them because I want them to know. But if it came down to it, I would really have to seek counseling and talk to God and talk to counselors to see how I can.
But then, Kitty, on the flip side of that, they would be in your shoes that you was in with your dad. And they would say, why she didn't tell us? We could have made more memories.
Yeah, they would. I know. That's why I said I'm thinking on both sides.
For my thing, I'm like,
juggling.
hey, I want all prayer warriors on deck. Hey, we going to let it be known. I need everybody to lay hands. We need to pray. I need positive energy. I'm going to talk. I'm going to tell it.
I'm going to talk, but I don't know if it's just to them. Like how you said, I'm going with your aunt. So I'm sure I would probably go Tracy and Dion. They would know. And I'm praying that I would say Tracy and Dion, and my daughters are Dominique and Mo. Tracy and Dion are my sisters. I know that I would tell Tracy and Dion for sure. It's my daughters that I don't.
It's hard because you said your mom was like, don't be mad at me. My mom had told me that on her deathbed a week before. She said, Cole, I just don't want you to be mad at me because there were things that they kept from us.
And you automatically get mad. And I ask questions. I'm the one that you tell me something, I'm gonna grill and drill these doctors, and I'm sorry, I'm gonna get in their ass like never before because I asked them doctors. So I said, well, why don't y'all just remove the other breast? well, at her age, it's environmental, so we just don't think we need to do this. My mom went through chemo, radiation. 6 months later, the next breast had it, and then it was a deadly and fatal type of cancer. And so the lady was like, well, we're just gonna go in and piece it up. They were just gonna go in and get it where it's at. No, you're not. You're not finna keep playing with my mama. You're not finna keep playing with my mama. You finna go in and take this whole breast. And then, like you said, they put a tube in her. I said, Mama, this tube is not doing what it's supposed to do. Why do you have the tube? Went to the doctor. We should have never put this tube in her. They playing with our bodies sometimes. They are playing with your bodies. And if you don't advocate for them and say, no, don't do this, Mama, don't do this, yep, I'm finna get mad.
One thing I know about cancer is by them opening her and she have it, by her having a hole in her body and open it, it spreads.
When it
spreads.
Yeah, and that's what they don't know. Because
that's it.
I have a friend, he had prostate cancer. He had stage 1 prostate cancer. It was a minimum stage. Prostate 1 is just the beginning.
Yes.
He let him go. They let him go in and cut him. When I tell you, he had all kinds of bad side effects. He's had many strokes. I mean, it's like it's stage 1, but they can't contain the stage 1 because they cut him. And when they cut you, they don't know what's really inside of you.
Yeah.
He had a whole bunch of complications just from stage 1. And he's been dealing with stage 1 cancer for over a year because they can't get it under control. I was like, wow, this is a lot. He couldn't walk. He couldn't keep his bowels together. It was just a lot of stuff. And finally, he was just like, okay, I got to fight this. I got to be strong. But you just never know. Even the simplest stage could take you through more than a stage 3 or a stage 4. You just never know what your body's going to do when you get cancer.
You said that they're playing whatever.
I believe they
Nicole hit on this.
It's a lot of mistrust in the medical system.
Nicole hit on that earlier, and I was going to say, how does the lack of diversity in the medical field impact Black people's trust in healthcare providers?
And we see people that look like us now in general medicine, but I remember walking one of the aisles at St. Vincent's, and they have all these doctors.
Yes.
Cardiology, nobody.
You don't see none of us on the wall.
Endocrinology, nobody.
None.
Like, and we got diabetes, and we need endocrinology.
Yes.
I requested a Black neuro because after my TIA, found one. Oncology, 0. And we are getting cancer at an alarming rate, but not nobody look like us. On my mom's oncology floor, 3 Black nurses in oncology. CNAs, but they're not the ones that are providing the treatment. They're the ones that's coming in, flipping the bodies and changing the sheets. You know, so that's the challenge for me in the way that cancer looks, acts, feels, does Black people, just our genetic makeup in general. It's just that, and for me, it's a mistrust now. I already told my people, if I have a relapse, call my holistic team, please, and thank you, because you know the nectarine pits have a little sign out there. That's chemotherapy right there. God done gave us all of, these are things I researched from, mushrooms, turkey tail, watermelon, and the seeds that they taking away, and they're telling us that it's bad for us. That's true natural chemo because they put off certain chemicals that attack cells and stuff. So
nice.
So it's things that I learned throughout my mom's process. Don't give me that, but they put my mom on a experimental Keytruda. That tore that lady body.
Wow.
So to your point, y'all just was playing with my mom. And then it's sad.
Yeah.
And I also think that when you come into health issues, me, I'm always thinking because I'm single, I don't have husband, I don't have kids. My mom is deceased. My dad has dementia. So I really don't have anybody. So I always think about if something happens to me, I have to have a medical team. Not a medical team of doctors, but my friends and my family. Hey, if something happens, I need you to do this. If something happens, I need for you to do this. So I said to myself, I need a medical team. People who I can trust that if something happens, hey, I need you to come and be at my house because I'll never forget. I broke my leg one time. My mama said, baby, you can stay with me for a week, but I'm going on a cruise. So I had a broke leg, and you don't realize the things that you cannot do when you have a broke leg.
Yeah.
So I had to have a medical team. When I promised y'all about 10 people had a key to my house, I was like, hey, y'all need to be coming in, checking on me, bringing me food because I can't drive, I can't do this. So you have to
Yeah.
think outside of the box. Like, when I need help, who's going to help me? Because I'm the one that be, okay, I'm going to try and push it a little longer. I'm going to try and push it a little longer,
Yeah.
push it a little longer. Till you can't push it no more and then you get down, then you have to have somebody to be there for you and to support you.
Let me ask y'all this question too about, do y'all think, which I'm sure we all agree, the quality of care is based upon the type of insurance?
Oh, definitely.
Definitely.
Because as I was telling you all, they didn't find my mom's cancer. They were doing upper and lower on her.
Uh-huh.
But because she had WellCare, which is a Medicare replacement, and it's the bottom of the barrel, they wasn't using the best. They would have been found because the lady was getting upper and lower but she was getting the bare minimum. I've seen, you know, I won't name some of the subsidized health programs. Those children get different immunities.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, that's as a immunity for Florida Health. What you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah.
I worked in insurance for 20 years. It's 100% true.
Yeah.
Because they even have like, what's the test they get to see if you're more prone to get cancer? Well, some insurances pay for it,
No.
some
Some
insurances don't.
Yeah.
So what if I'm more prone to get cancer just because I don't have the insurance?
And
Then
it's very expensive.
that test is like $3,000.
Uh-huh.
Very expensive.
And if you don't have the right insurance, they're not gonna pay for that for you. So
Yeah.
what do you do in those instances?
And that's the thing too, like in my family, you know, my grandmother, my father's mom, she died from breast cancer. One of his sisters has battled it twice and fought it and won. Her daughter is actually battling breast cancer now. And then you have my dad had cancer, you know. So now for me, like, I think that was you, Spice, I was telling, I said, I had a mammogram done last year, and then my doctor was saying, oh, you need to go back and it's time for you to have another mammogram. And I'm like, I thought I was supposed to get them like every 3, 4, 5 years or whatever. Yeah, and she was like, no, it's time now. And when they called, I was on my vessel, and I was like, child, I had that thing last year. I had let it up.
At this stage
They
of the
put you
game.
at a higher
Listen,
year.
Put you at a higher risk.
I come home to find my father died of cancer. So y'all know I'm finna call them people and schedule my
I do mine
mammogram.
every January.
And upper and lower.
Yes,
Mine's-
I had the
coming up September.
colonoscopy, and that's what I tell people. Like my husband, I don't want the colonoscopy. He wanted to send his little poop in the box and all of those stuff. I'm like,
real
man,
one.
go to let the people look up there so they can see if you got polyps.
Polyps
I don't
and
think
stuff.
that poop in the box could tell if you got polyps. I'm like,
Yeah.
you need to go. Yeah, I'm like, you need to go
He
and
gonna
let
be
them
asleep.
see.
He'll be all right.
That's what I told him. But after I talked to him, he agreed to
Yeah.
it. So he's gonna have that done. But you know, that's one of the things that. And I said it's crazy because we're having these shows, and I sat right on this thing and telling people, looking in that camera, telling people, go get checked. Go, you know, you be an advocate for your health. And a month later, here I sit. You know, so I mean, it can be any of us at any given time.
Yeah.
And stage 4 cancer. My father had to have known something. He had to be
And
dealing with a lot of
something
things.
had to be in there.
Yes. Yes. You know, I was telling one of the producers how several years ago, my husband, his appendix was inflamed. My father, his appendix was inflamed, and it was near rupturing. He waddled in the bed for days and days and days in pain, and he refused to go to the hospital. My sister had to threaten him and call the police, and she finally called rescue. They came and got him, and if they didn't catch it then, it probably would have ruptured, and he would have really been in bad shape. But those the type of parents we're talking about.
Yes.
Same time that push through the pain and also hold the diagnosis. You know what I'm saying? And they hold it inside and keep us in the blind.
Yeah.
And I told my husband this the other night. I said, that's the biggest injustice you could do me is not letting me know what's going on.
And then a lot of
Let
times,
me know what's going on.
what I think too is like with my dad. He know he smoked too much. Cool Filter Kings. I remember Cool Filter Kings coming up. He know he drank too much. So he know that his diagnosis had a lot to do with his habits. Many people's, not everybody, but a lot of people's diagnosis have a lot to do with their ill habits. And he know that drinking and smoking
or two of the.
And like my granddad, he died of cirrhosis of the liver. That means he drank.
Yes.
You get what I'm saying? And that's why I watch now, because I find myself like, oh, you gotta back that thing on up from where you going. But I think because a lot of times they may feel ashamed because it was from their habits that it might have been coming anyway, but those habits just
They made us feel
when,
wrong.
and when you don't take care of yourself, you don't go get treated. Usually when you have bad habits, you don't want to go to the doctor because he's going to immediately tell you,
He gonna pick
stop
up
smoking
on
them
it.
cool
Yeah.
filter cans.
Yes.
I can tell from your eyes you drank too much.
Right.
And if you don't want to change the habit, so you just not go to the doctor. You can't drink and take high blood pressure medicine.
Yeah.
I told
So
my
you got all
husband-
of these issues.
I told my husband that the other day. I said the definition of insanity is to continue to do the same thing over and over again, expecting a
That's
different
my
result.
dad. He had
I
an
said,
enlarged
you do the
heart.
same thing, but you expect them doctors to tell you something different when you go there. It
So
don't work like
so
that.
they just don't go. Like my dad, he had an enlarged heart, but you die. You going with high blood pressure. The smoking make the blood pressure higher.
Yeah.
The drinking make the blood pressure higher.
Yes.
Everything is just going disarray. So instead of watching our habits and our lifestyle,
That's true.
we just don't go to the doctor because the habits are more important
Then the lifestyle.
and maybe he didn't tell us because I was feeling like his habits were more important than me. Your habits were more important than your children, and that hurts. And often that's how we have to look at it when we're talking to people and we know that their habits are killing them. Say, your habits more important than me because that's what you're giving into. You letting that overtake the fact that I need you. And then that goes from a bad diagnosis to death. And now you're not even alive to give me some wisdom that I need.
Yeah. Do y'all find that too? Y'all don't see a lot of
Just
do y'all find that things in the community, y'all don't see a lot of awareness being made for a lot of these things? I don't see a lot going on about.
definitely don't
It's
see a
like
lot.
mom's the word. You don't see a lot of awareness and people bringing awareness to these issues that's affecting us on a daily. I mean, all five of us sitting here, we all got a story to tell surrounding this one issue, the big C that nobody wants to talk about, And that's the thing about it. I say about cancer, and I remember having this conversation before, and I said, it's so crazy because those little cells in there just working and they just growing and mutating and spreading, and you're just living life thinking everything is good and you're happy, you're healthy, so you think, and you're just moving through life and this thing is growing inside of you, and you gotta keep living, and you don't even know, it's like a ninja, like a silent killer, just steady growing and getting the troops together to take you on up out of here.
Yeah, but when you're picking up a cigarette, you know for a fact that that's not good for you. That's going to help anything that's going already make it worse, or it's going to make something there. So if you just, what do they?
And see,
They
my
told
dad
you,
wasn't
it's
even
on
a
the
smoker.
package.
My dad wasn't even a smoker.
No, I'm just talking about when you sit around and you
then
see
you
people.
know,
and
yeah,
you're like,
yeah.
it's on the
Nicotine is one of the
package.
hardest addictive things to keep off of. Nicotine is a serious drug.
A serious one.
Serious drug.
Serious
that's hard
drug.
to get rid of.
That's what I was going to say when Kitty was saying, is your habits more important than us? Addiction is real.
It is real.
Addiction is
It was
real.
so real. That's probably what took him out because it was so real that it was at the end of the day more. I don't want to call it important, but more important. It was. This was more than this right here.
Yeah.
One of the things that I noticed on my way here, I'm coming from the 32225 area zip code, and I live by Publix.
Okay.
I was driving. I see no grocery stores. I see Family Dollars and Dollar Trees.
Everywhere.
They have processed
cheap meat.
foods.
Yeah.
And that's part of the problem.
Yes.
I have access to fresh produce, where I live.
Mm-hmm.
My grandmother lives off Moncrief, and when my mom was alive, we used to bring my grandmother her food because
It's not.
so that's part of that systemic issue
Yes.
for our community. If you don't have access to fresh produce, fresh fruits and
Yes.
vegetables, and then you're eating processed lunch meat from the gas station.
Girl, the fried chicken from the gas station.
So that what do we, and I don't know if you all saw the movie home Tyrone?
Yes.
Yes,
So
I
whenever I
did. It
pass
was a
certain
chicken.
Tunis, I'm just gonna say when I pass Tunis, I just automatically think about all the black people eating chicken, laughing. So I don't even eat Popeyes and stuff like that. I just,
I just don't.
I'm like, and so I think that has a lot to do with it because if you flip the package of some processed lunch meat from the Dollar Tree and you start reading stuff you can't even pronounce,
Yeah.
that's part of it too. You
Yes,
know,
that's
that's
part
our
of it too.
carcinogenics.
You go to Walmart and you will see people who you know are getting subsidized with their food.
You know,
And the fruit and vegetables are there, but yet the basket is full of hot pockets, ramen noodles. We do
goods.
have options in this,
Takis,
so
yeah.
maybe you have, maybe you got to go a
Yes.
little further. But the fact that they went further and they went to Walmart and that basket is full of all of this stuff, your
fast and
kids'
good stuff.
brains need to work, and they cannot work on that processed food.
They set up the Takis.
We have
Doritos,
options.
The
They
ramen
love them
noodles,
hot Takis.
They said that is cardboard with food coloring. Like
Yeah.
you feeding your baby, like.
And that's where God gives us options, and sometimes we have the option to take that basket and buy meat, frozen vegetables, and like some beans. You can make anything work with that, but you have to want to cook.
And that's the problem.
You have to put that stuff in the crock pot and know how to do it.
They want the children.
They don't want to cook, but it's at the detriment of your children and your own health. And you wonder
own
why
health, yes.
you're bloated, why you're feeling sluggish. Look at your diet. And then doing that years and years and years and years, that does help cancer grow and survive.
Yes, cancer
You know
does,
what I
yeah.
mean?
Because just like I said it, I spoke about it on Ben's show about the colon cancer, and I preached it during the time of COVID. I said, everybody's healthy until the doctor tells you you're not.
That's true.
That's a good one.
Because you're healthy. You go to the doctor, like I said, you can go to the doctor at 3:30, and they tell you, hey, you got this. What? I
Your
won't be
blood pressure high.
healthy.
You're like, what?
Your whole life
Everybody's
change.
healthy until the doctor tells you you're not.
Yeah.
So with that being said, you have to be an advocate for yourself. Like me, I have the CBCs done twice a year. We get it with the union, and then my doctor, she orders it anyway. And that's what I love about our doctor. I actually found this doctor from my husband. And the first visit, when she get there, she say, I'm not going to examine you. I'm going to take this paper, go get you some labs.
Yeah.
When all they come back, then we'll come back and we'll talk. She started right away with the blood work. Let me see what's going on with you internally. And then she goes after that, okay, now what's wrong with, blah, 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 blah. And I love that for him. So much so that I became her patient, and now my mom goes to her. So I love that she asks these things, and she don't get upset when I didn't get the blood work done because I had to leave and I ain't do it before I went to California. But she said, okay. She gave me the paper again. She said, you can go right down there to the emergency room department and they'll do it.
You was at Baptist?
Yes.
You had to go
Done
right
everything right there.
downstairs.
I went right over there, had it done. Everything's good. So I'm up on it. And like I told you ladies, I'm going to go and go on a schedule to get that other mammogram. But this was a wake-up call for me.
Yeah.
Like I said, we didn't know it was a week. People was calling, hey, where's your dad? I ain't talked to your dad, blah, blah, blah. We find him one day and he's gone the next day. We find him one day in the hospital and he's gone the next day. So, that's our story, and we all have stories, like I said, Kitty with her dad and his secrecy, and Nicole and her mom, and everybody, they want to protect us. But I employ anybody as a child of someone who protected us.
Yeah.
Don't give me that protection. Give it to me
Please
raw.
don't.
Give me closure.
Give it to me raw.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, the pain is real.
Yeah.
The pain is raw.
It was.
So
I don't think I slept for like a month. I'm gonna be honest. I had to go to a house and it was full of people to sleep.
My last mammogram I had, they ended up sending me to a specialist because with the last show we had, I explained to them when I found the lump, testing myself before I went to work, and ended up finding a lump here. And then when I had the mammogram, there was also a pocket of red ink in the back of my breast wall on this side. No, this side, because I have a tattoo back here. Kanji, it's Chinese Libra, so it sunk in behind. So I end up having surgery for both breasts. So the last mammogram I had, I have to get them yearly. So the last mammogram I had, they was like, oh, we found something. I'm gonna send you over here. I think I went over there off of 8th Street and went over there. So it came back. Oh, it's just scarring. I guess don't start it behind the other one that they went through. But yeah, it's a scary thing. But I don't play about my appointments. I go,
Yes.
I get checked. So
For sure. That's what I was saying, like on Ben's episode, I have the elevated white blood cell count and everything. So for me, when I get that high white blood cell count, they send me to the cancer specialist of Northeast Florida. And, and I'm in there and they spinning my blood. And, and the ladies in there was cool. So the older sisters in there, and they was like, girl, ain't nothing wrong with you. And they was just making me feel good.
Yeah.
But like I said, again, walking in that office, it showed me cancer does not discriminate.
It does not.
Old, young, black,
Yes,
white,
it's
Indian,
not.
Chinese, male, female, identify as female, but you're male. It don't matter what you are, what you call yourself. It does not discriminate.
So right.
It does not discriminate. And as people, as human beings, and people who have other people loving on you, and people you're living for, and you're living with, and providing for, do your due diligence and get yourself checked out, and share those results with your
be
family.
open and honest.
Be open and honest.
And take care of yourself.
Because-
at the end of the day, we
Yes.
got to. That high blood pressure and stuff, some of that is hereditary. It's in my family.
Yes, and
So I
mine
have
also.
I have to do certain things.
Yes.
But a lot of times we'll negate the taking care of ourselves. We go to the doctor, but we'll negate taking care of ourselves.
Yes.
If you don't take care of yourself, what do you think could happen?
do you think?
You're just leaving it up to happenstance.
And you know what I
Take care
think
of
too?
ourselves.
I think sometimes the burden of carrying the secret is worse on the patient.
It probably is.
It probably expedites
It has to.
the negative. You know what I mean? The burden of carrying the secret. I can only imagine that. I mean, like I said, I'm an open book. Child, look, I need y'all to pray for your girl. I had a
Yeah.
I'd be like Kamala was when she had them 200 Zoom people. I need everybody. All hands on
Everybody. I
deck.
get you.
Zooming
That's
in
how
for
it
me.
was.
So that's the type of person I am. I understand everybody's not like that.
Yeah.
But I employ any of you all who
Yes.
get a diagnosis or something's going on, get with somebody and let them help carry that load,
Yes.
and you'll be surprised how strong your village is and how strong your children are. You may see them as weak, and even the one that you thought was the weakest may actually be the
That's
strongest.
gonna be the one that's gonna be right there by your
So
side.
I would implore you all to share and not hold that diagnosis in. And before we get up out of here, man, I just want to one time just say my father's name, James Franklin Donald, August 20th, 1952 to July 27th, 2024. I love my dad. Y'all have a good evening. We thank y'all for tuning in. Kenny, do you want to give a shout out to your dad?
My dad, Eugene Watley, he would have been 70. My dad died a month before he turned 50. I'll be 50 in 3 months. That's why I encourage us to take care of ourselves, because he never got to see where I am now.
Nicole, would you like to say your mom's name?
Mary Washington. Oh man, I can't.
Nicole's mom is Mary Washington. Miss Mary died last year from cancer. And I'm sorry, y'all. I didn't mean to bring y'all to tears, but
It's all right.
I appreciate the opportunity to share my dad's name and to share the fact that he died from cancer and he kept it a secret from us. I implore you all, share with your family and be
Please,
open and be
please.
honest. And let your family members know what's going on with you and take care of yourself. Y'all have a good night.
All right.